As a nurse educator, you often don't have control over every part of the environment, but you do have a big influence over the student's experience of the learning environment. As a nurse educator, the environment may be in rooms that you are assigned to teach in, or different pieces of medical equipment. You may not have a choice in which room you teach in, but you can influence how the room is set up for the class. You are creating a learning experience, so use your influence on your environment to help you create a great experience for the learner. Think from the learner's perspective in order to create the best learning environment. Materials are often part of the learning environment. Some people call the learning environment a learning ecosystem because each part contributes to the whole and each part is affected by the other. The way you create or present materials is one way you have influence. Even if the materials are made by another entity, your approach and attitude towards the materials is how you can influence a positive learner experience. Your lesson plan is the first way that you can influence the learning environment. Depending on the length and depth of the workshop can determine the level of depth of your lesson plan. Some key points here are to have a lesson plan that has a logical schedule or flow to the instruction. Keep in mind that you should vary your approaches to the learning. Assessment is a part of being a nurse educator. Quite often we think of quizzes and tests when we think of assessment. If you are teaching a hands-on skill, a written test is probably not the best way to assess whether or not the nurse has the skills before they leave your classroom. Think of assessment in this way. How do you know the learner has learned the subject matter? Is the goal of the training some type of skill? If so, can they show you the skill? There are formal and informal assessments as well as formative and summative assessments. We will look at these later in the term. Take a moment to pause and reflect on teacher characteristics. There's been a teacher in your past that has had a significant positive impact on your life. What characteristics did they display? Will you strive to show your learners the same characteristics? Take a look at the professor care factors to see what students say about characteristics they want to see from a teacher. The students were asked specifically about online courses, but look at their answers about engagement, your presence, and feedback. These are the ways you can influence the learning environment. 95% of students want to actively engage in a learning process. This means they want to be challenged and engaged, not told. 87% say your attitude is infectious. If you have a positive outlook and presence, they are likely to follow your lead and look positively on the learning experience.